Hi, good morning. I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 237 and we're here live in Southwest Florida at Vanderbilt Beach, just getting ready for the sun to rise over the buildings and the trees to the east. And this is the Gulf of Mexico behind me. It is a beautiful, calm and pastel morning here today. We've got those, oh, what's that? Oh, it's those birds. I forget what they're called. Cormorants, I don't know, I forget their name, but we have a bunch of those birds out there that dive completely underneath to fish and then come back up, so you might see them. They're gonna pop. There's one straight ahead. They have long skinny necks. Cormorants, yes, thank you, Grace. I knew I was close but didn't have it quite right. I've got a bunch of those out there this morning. The water's super calm, so it'll be really easy to see the contrast of any wildlife that joins us. Good morning, Grace and Lisa. I missed a bunch of names, but thank you for joining me live. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Jane, Naomi, Stacy, Leanne. Thank you, everybody, for joining me live. It's so pretty here this morning. Hi, Chris. I'm a minute late, and I apologize for that. I was busy setting up a social media post about this morning and thought I had time. Hi, Beatrice and Peggy and Brenda. Be a great day to see a dolphin out there, huh? Can you see the moon? The moon is straight ahead too. I'm not sure if it's showing up in the camera. Hi, Lisa. Can anybody see the moon? It's right there. No, you can't see the moon. Okay. It's well, the sky at the horizon line, the sky from my eyes, I'm not sure what it looks like on camera, is a really pale golden peach. And then as it transitions up to a yellow and then a white and then back into the blues, just a little further up than when it goes to a solid blue is where there's a pretty full-size moon up there, but it's pale. Good morning, Donna and Judy. Oh, Judy, you can see the moon. Wonderful. Okay, great. Ah, Stacy can see it too. Great. Lily can see the gold. Wonderful. Yeah, the sky is really pretty, Melissa. I agree. Nikki can see the moon too. Yay. Hi, Bilgia. Thanks for joining live. Good. Joe can see it. Judy can see a little white dot. Okay, well, you know how it is that moons never show up on camera? I always try to take a picture of a full moon. I'm like, oh, this one's huge. It'll show up for sure, and it's a pin dot on a camera. So it actually is a big looking moon up there right now, but yeah, it's a camera, so what are you gonna do? Not sure what you mean by Zincan, Lisa. Thanks, Jackie. I did a real quick blow dry this morning. I washed my hair this morning and did a real quick blow dry with a paddle brush, no round brush at all, so it's just poker straight, little volume at the top, and shiny. It's okay, Lisa. I know it's a typo. Sometimes I can read typo and sometimes I can't. And this was one where I really couldn't figure it out. Can you see the birds out there fishing? Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining live. Good morning, Tanya. Thank you for joining us. Oh, good. Lisa can see the moon now. Yay. The other thing I was hoping you guys could see were the birds out there. They're quite a ways out, and they're so skinny that not sure if you'll see them or not, but I've seen, I don't know, I've seen 5 or 6 of them already. Like, not 5 or 6 bobbing up and down, 5 or 6 bobbing up and down, which is something. Thanks, Melissa. What's over here? Oh, it's a person swimming. Yes, good morning to everybody that I missed too, Lisa. That's a good thing to say. I have a couple of things to show you this morning. First of all, my yarns are on the cover of a brand new magazine. I know the name's backwards, but when I share this in social media, my blog later today, it'll look normal. This is a brand new magazine called Nomadic Knits. Do you remember last winter or last spring maybe, late winter, early spring, when I had 2 people join me here at the beach, and I had one of my very few interviews during the podcast, and that was for Melissa and Becky, the owners of, and designers and authors and all that good stuff, of the publishers of this magazine. And this is their first issue, and this issue is the one that they did specifically about Florida, Nomadic Knits Florida. And they used Be So Fine yarn to make this shawl, and it made the cover of the magazine. So they used Be So Fine yarn in Chantilly Lace, Ice Silver Fox, Stormy Sea, and Blue Danube. And they used more than a tidbit of each, so they actually used 4 full balls. But the beauty of that is you would have a lot left over to either do a second shawl or lots of other projects with that. Like you could do a Zen stripe shawl with the leftovers even. So there's enough yarn when you buy this that it would be enough to do 2 whole projects or more. If you were going to do necklaces or necklace scarves or stuff like that, there'd be a bunch of stuff to do, maybe for gifts and things. So it takes 4 colors, and it's a sampler where they use a bunch of different stitch patterns combining the different colors, and it looks like it's more of a rectangle. Oh, I can show you another picture that'll show you the shape better. Here we go. The color's not going to show up well on camera probably, but imagine, yes, it is Knit Lily. Imagine it's a sampler of stitch patterns and a sampler of color work done on the bias in a rectangle. Can you imagine how beautiful that is when you're done? So it would be kind of like the shape of the Zen stripe scarves, but bigger and wider. So great candidate for a shawl pin, and you could do all sorts of styling with this. You could style it as a poncho, as well as all the different ways that you could style a scarf like that. So really pretty. Congratulations to Melissa and Becky for publishing and launching their first issue of Nomadic Knits. I don't have a link to show you where to purchase it right this minute. I was excited to just show you the minute I got it. It arrived in my mail last night. So I will be doing a blog post later today with the announcement, and there'll be a link for where you can purchase the magazine. I don't know how many patterns are in it. Maybe I can quickly count from the table of contents. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there are 10 patterns, and then there's a recipe, and there are some articles and lots of nice information in here. And then there's a write-up on all of the yarn companies that they used. And remember, so there's an article on Florida-friendly fibers, there's an article on how to knit at the beach, and a letter from the editors. Then there's a whole section on the different yarns that they used. And here's another picture of the shawl done in Be So Fine yarn, and then a beautiful write-up about my company, which was really sweet, and to learn that Melissa is also a domestic violence survivor, and they will be donating a portion of every individual sale of this pattern. So you can buy the magazine in print, you can buy the whole magazine in an ebook, and you can also buy the patterns individually, and that's all on their Ravelry page. And they will be donating a portion of every individual sale of Shadows in the Rain, of this pattern in Be So Fine yarn, to Project Kristin Cares in memory of Allison, Melissa's 3-year-old little girl who lost her life to domestic violence. I got really choked up when I read that last night, and obviously I am again today, so I think that's really special. And so there'll be a blog post more about all that. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, soon enough. But gosh, and to know that, think about it, this is really interesting. We met both of them a few months ago, right here on the beach. They sat with me. They were so bubbly, they were so sweet, and they were so kind. And you never would have guessed that, would you? Domestic violence hits every ethnicity, every economic demographic, every social demographic. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will be affected by domestic violence in their lifetime, and you never, ever, ever know who it could be. You can't tell from looking at someone if they're a survivor of domestic violence, and even more sad if someone doesn't survive. So that hit me like a punch last night. Anyway, really amazing ladies, very strong ladies, very talented ladies. And I'm so excited to be able to promote their magazine, and like I said, there'll be way more information about it later today. I was just too excited to show it to you guys. If you're excited to go find out about it now, it'll be Nomadic Knits on Ravelry. I think that's their home page. Well, they have a website, nomadicknits.com, already. Yeah, exactly, my emotions are running high already. So they have a website, nomadickknits.com, and then if you want to find out more about the magazine and all the patterns and all the photos and all that stuff, it would be on Ravelry as well. And I'll have all those links for you later today. Then I also brought all of our little mini tidbits to, as far as the statistics go, Cynthia, not only those statistics are for the straight community. If you add the statistics for the LGBT community, they go even higher. So 1 in 4 men, that statistic is among straight men. When you go into the LGBT community, that number skyrockets for how many men become affected by domestic violence, which is just so scary and staggering. And what really bothers me about that is that even though there are women's shelters, there are absolutely no shelters that I am aware of for men in that situation, and that breaks my heart, and it's something that I hope I can maybe make a difference about one day. Not going to be today, but it's something that I do think about a lot. Anyway, we'll move on from that now. So I brought all my little mini tidbits, you know, the little ones that we do our little talks with here in the morning. I have all of them in, here we go. Got all these little cuties right here, and I thought what might be fun is, you know how I was showing you in theory? Yes, resources are close to none in that yeah, I know. We talked about some pretty heavy stuff this morning, everybody, and you know, that's life, right? We all deal with it. We all have our issues, and all we can do is remember that, you know, you never know what someone's going through, and you never know what's going, you know, there are no labels on our foreheads, you know? Anyway, Ahsoka, where do I sell my yarn? At KristinOmdahl.com. If you go to my website, there will be a link in the video description, and in all my social media there's descriptions, but just by my name, KristinOmdahl.com. Thanks, Stacy. Okay, so we talked a lot about color wheels the last 2 days. 2 days ago we went over this big cutie. Yesterday we went over this little cutie, and we found a ton of really valuable information on both of them, right? But today what I thought I'd do, and this is either going to work or it's not going to work, and we're going to try it anyway. So it's not like all my yarns are perfectly dyed to match a color wheel, right? But you know what? When you go to do this in a yarn shop or in a clothing store or anywhere else, or in your own closet when you're trying to figure out what goes together, things aren't going to be perfect there either. So it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is take a look at some of these combinations that they talk about on here. The triad, the split complementary, the analogous, the harmonious, and we're going to look at those different combinations and see if we can pull yarns together and see if we can pull yarns together that match and see if it works. So and if anybody wants to give me a request for something to check out, please feel welcome to do so. All right, first thing that popped into my eyeballs, and this is the tint page on the first color wheel. Remember, a tint means it's a pure color that then has white added to it to different shades. And on this particular color here, it kind of reminds me, I'm getting a huge glare on the camera. Let's see if I can move it, if that helps. Okay, so here's the blue-green, and here would be the pure color. Then all down here are the tints, meaning the different variations of different amounts of white added to the pure color. And I think Caribbean turquoise and celestial blue mist really kind of go in that whole column. So let's look at that column in the triad, which would be the 3 spokes of like a piece wheel, these would be the 3 colors that are directly opposite. And we would go into yellow orange, and we would go into red violet. Well, I think in the red violet, I think crushed berries kind of goes with one of the tints in the middle here, so I'm going to pull that. And then in the yellow orange, I'm thinking that that actually is close to our pure gold. So drum roll, please. Let's see what comes up. I gotta tell you, that's pretty cute. There's pure gold, crushed berries, and celestial blue mist. And here's pure gold, crushed berries, and Caribbean turquoise. And I don't know if I would have ever thought to put those together, but I love it. What do you guys think? I think it's really pretty. Surprisingly, very pretty. Okay, so let's try that again. That worked. How exciting. I love trying something new on here and not knowing if it's going to work or not. I know, look at all those. Lots of people loved it too. I'm impressed. All right, yay, color wheel. It worked already. So imagine doing this in your closet. Go pull out a blouse, a skirt, and a scarf. Like pull out your hand knits and pull out your closet stuff and mix and match. I could do that too. Maybe we'll do this in my closet one day. Okay, so let's find another color. If anybody wants to pick a color, please feel welcome. Okay, here's one. We're gonna go with blue violet, because I actually think blue violet looks a lot like blue Danube. Okay. And let's stick with triad for a second, since that works so well and it's so surprising. So green yellow, I'm thinking is going to be Lincoln lime. And orange red, I think down the middle here is pretty close to tropical hot coral. And I'm telling you, I would never have put these 3 together, but I am loving it. Look at that. Blue Danube, Lincoln lime, and tropical hot coral. Gorgeous. Oh, and the person that was asking about blue Danube for, what were they working on? They were with yellow, but actually these colors are really pretty too. And I don't have a pure yellow here with me this morning, but you can see that this color would be really pretty, and this color would be really pretty, and this color would be really pretty to go with if that were the yellow. The contrast is stunning. Yes, I'm not very good at contrast colors, or it's not something that I practice a lot of, so this is really helping me as well. Okay, should we do another triad, or should we move on to the split complementary? What do you think? I think, unless I hear from someone else, I will try another. Let's see. Let's try the other side. Do I have enough darker colors to make that work? Let's see. One more, Melissa. Okay. Yeah, let's do another one then. Oh, I know. Let's try, let's see, which one does that show up with? Here we go. If we start with violet as our main color, it looks like we can pull up, we could pull up Plum or Lavender's First Romance in either one of the tints on the lower end of that. So let's go with, we'll see which one of those go with what we're going to pick. So then it goes into gold and green again for the triad. I guess I should have been talking about what ended up being the complementary ones too, or the split complementary. So let's do split complementary on this one, because I think I can do this one better. So if we stick with Plum or Lavender's First Romance here, and then if we go to split complementary, which is more, it's at either side of the contrast color, remember? So we've got contrast, which is directly below, triad, which is equal distance apart, split complementary is adjacent on either side of the contrast. So we're going to go with Plum, and then orange yellow and green yellow. So Let's go back to plum, and then we would be picking up lime and gold. Again, 3 colors I would never ever think to pull together, but really great. I mean, I've always known that gold and plum look great together, but I would have never thought to add the pop of lime. Isn't that great? Beautiful. Okay, so let's see, let's try. There were other ones on here, and this is the one I thought was going to show. Remember, there was also the tetrad, and the tetrad is where you pick 4 colors that are, I'm not even sure how you would say where they are on the color wheel. So if you get this color wheel, the little one, it shows you the complementary, which is the color opposite. It shows you the triad, which is the equidistant. It shows you the split complementary, which is a color with the adjacents to the opposite. But then we also have a tetrad, which is showing you 4 points on the color wheel. So let's see what I can find on here. So if we do a triad, we can do, it's going to show red, blue, green, and orange going together. So let's pull in the red. We could go to Parisian Bordeaux, which would be a darker one that has the black added to it. In the orange, we'll go lighter with Tropical Hot Coral, because that's just what I have here. And then in the blue, we could go with Blue Danube, or we could either go with a Stormy Sea. Let's see which one ends up looking nicer with that. Ah, there's bugs. And then green, we could go into Jaded Peacock or Lincoln Lime. I'm going to go with Jaded Peacock. Okay. So depending on which blue you chose of that triad, we could do Parisian Bordeaux, Tropical Hot Coral, Blue Danube, and Jaded Peacock. Or if we pulled out Blue Danube, we could do Stormy Sea with these 4 colors. And then we could also pop out Jaded Peacock and do Harbor Fog. I'm also missing Blue Danube, or Million Dollar Red this morning, so we could also pop out the Parisian Bordeaux and show this with Sangria. And if I do that, I think I'm going to pull out the 2 lighter ones of the blue and green and add the darkers. That's really pretty too. I think knowing how to match 4 colors is going to be really important for when you're doing, can I show the 5H3 color wheel at the same time as, oh, show this, yeah, this one's easier to see. So where they're picking the 4 colors would be this one, this one, this one, and this one. So it ends up being a 4-point. So I think what might be interesting to do is if you buy both of them, you would take those points on here and draw them on the white section here to remind yourself where that tetrad? Yeah, tetrad is. Because I think that's a really important thing to learn as well. And on this side, it would be these 4, I believe. So what we'll need to do is just write that in pen on these so that we could have both sets of information on both cards. So this would be, so the tetrad would be going with yellow, orange, yellow, green, red, violet, and blue, or maybe red and blue. So picking colors along there. Yeah, it definitely does make you see colors in a new way, Grace. Just like in elementary school, guys, you know, it's just, you know, you're just fueling fire by paying attention to something that you're not interested in. So the less you can pay attention, if Karen's already done what she needs to do, then it means that there's just a glitch in the system and there's nothing else we can do. So try to just ignore it if you can. Sorry it's upsetting to some people, but the best you can do is just know that it's already been handled, so you just have to ignore it. Try to be patient if you can. Try to ignore it. Okay, so then if we go back to the tint side, you can see that tetrad would be the 4 corners here. So as we slide this, you could also find those 4 corners. Good morning, Letty. Thanks for joining. Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for joining. Okay, so now I've moved it again, and now we've got stuff that would show up with lavender and plum. We've got colors that would show up with Caribbean turquoise and celestial blue mist. We've got colors that'll show up with Lincoln lime and colors that'll show up with coral. So let's pull those up. So we've got coral, not Lincoln lime, Calypso lime, Caribbean turquoise. Oh, this is going to be great. And we could either go in with Lavender's First Romance or Passionate Plum. Either one's fantastic. Look at that. So those 4 and these 4. Really wonderful. I mean, just gorgeous. So let's turn that color wheel again. It looks like it's easier to do this on the pastel side. I think it's showing it better on camera. Okay, so for this one we've got, let's try, we're going to go with crushed berries and maybe lilac memories. And then let's see what we pull with that. We'll pull gold with it. And we could pick something in the greens. Let's go with Harbor Fog. Let's see what those, I would have never ever thought to put these 4 together, you guys. Look at that. It's beautiful. And even if you popped out Harbor Fog to do something dark and went with Jaded Peacock, stunning. Wow. I would have never thought to do those 4 together, would you? Just beautiful. Oh, and you know what? Doing these 4 colors together, you know what this would be helpful for? This is done in 4 colors. I just thought of that. So looking at the tetrad scenery on the color wheel will be very helpful for choosing colors for this particular shawl. What was it called? Showers in the Rain? Let me double check. Sorry, I forgot. How did I forget already? Yes, Shadows in the Rain. Shadows in the Rain. It's called Shadows in the Rain, and it uses 4 colors of Be So Fine yarn. And they do suggest using 2 neutrals, but I think that if you had enough contrast in the 4, that might be okay too. Yeah, Nikki, I think you could really use a color wheel. I'm so glad that I got mine. I think they were both under $10, so depending on which one you think seems more useful to you, or to have both. And there are a ton of others on the market. There are a bunch out there. So now that you know what information interests you, you might be able to choose which color wheel works best for you. But honestly, for me, having the tints so prominent on this side and having the shades and tones so prominent on this side, I think is really important. And on this one, I think having the triad, the tetrad, the complementary, the split complementary, and all that grid is also very important. There were also things on here that explained how the color changes between adding a tint, a shade, and a tone, meaning adding white, gray, and black to any given color. I think that was a great example. And then it also talks about the different values of gray along here too. So this one has a lot of great information too. But as far as finding shades within a color, or a hue, which would be the correct term, I think that that's really interesting too. So I don't think I'm going to be the person to tell you which one is better. All I'm going to say is that they both have their values. Whichever one you think is more interesting to you, great. Otherwise, I like having both. Yeah, there's information online too. You don't actually have to buy a color wheel. I like the fact that it turns, but if you want to do this all online and just look at websites, you can do that too. But we're almost out of time, so let's take this last minute to look out at our amazing view, soak in these colors, the sounds of the waves, and set our intentions for the day. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed the sunrise and the sound of the waves, the beautiful scenery, chatting with me and everyone else here. Like I said, there are links to a lot of the things that we talked about in the video description below, and I will be writing a blog post today about everything we talked about, so there'll be way more information on my website as well. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you all tomorrow.